Tell me about ES6. ES6 stands for ECMAScript 6. It is the sixth version of JavaScript that was first released in June 2015. It is also known as ES 2015. In version 6, it has been heavily updated to bring the flavor of the JavaScript programming language from a scripting language. This version includes a number of new features, namely modules, iterators, classes, arrow functions, for loops, off loops, promises, and many more. But the browser only supports ES5, which is the previous version of ES6. For this reason, ES6 converts ES5 by converting Babel before use. What are the differences between var, let, and const? In JavaScript, we can declare a variable using three keywords: var, let, and const. Var is the oldest keyword for declaring a variable in JavaScript. The scope of a var variable is functional scope, but let and const variables are block scope. Var can be updated and scoped and redeclared. Let can be updated but cannot be redeclared in scope. Const cannot be updated or redeclared in scope. Var and let can be declared without initialization, but cannot declare const without initialization. Why will you use default parameters? Default parameters need to be used to make optional giving parameters in calling the function. The default parameters are used when we call the function but do not pass any argument which is available. What is the scope in JavaScript? Scope in JavaScript refers to the current context of the code, which determines the accessibility of variable to JavaScript. Before ES6, JavaScript only had global scope and functional scope. ES6 introduced two important new JavaScript keywords, let and const. These two keywords provide block scope in JavaScript. Variable declared inside the curly bracket block cannot be accessed from outside the block. Explain call by value versus call by reference. JavaScript has two types of data types. Primitive types use call by value, which means that when creating another variable as a copy of a variable, it copies the value. Non-primitive variable types uses call by reference, which means that when it is copied, its value will not be copied. It uses a memory reference for the variable data. What is a prototype chain? Theoretically, everything in JavaScript is an object, and every JavaScript object has a prototype. After creating reference to all objects, create a string. For this reason, when an object receives a request for data, it first looks up its property. Before searching the data, it is searched. It is related to its grandparents and it is called the prototype chain. What is API? What is the difference between GET versus POST? The full meaning of API is Application Programming Interface. API works to connect client-side to server-side and database. In JavaScript, APIs are commonly used to perform CRUD operation. GET is used to load or read data from the database. Also, POST a CRUD method and it is used to upload data to the database.